We usually expect danger to lurk in decaying castles or fog-choked graveyards, but a deeper terror lies in a completely normal patch of dirt that simply shouldn't exist. In the early 20th century, Gertrude Bacon wrote a short story called The Striding Place. It centers on an isolated, quiet stretch of the English countryside that looks entirely unremarkable. For centuries, locals have passed down warnings about this specific patch of land. They report strange visions, unexplained sounds, and a suffocating sense of dread that forces them to turn back before entering the woods. Enter James. He is a fiercely practical young man who approaches the world through a lens of strict logic and empirical evidence. To him, generations of whispered warnings are nothing more than overactive imaginations and rural superstition. He refuses to entertain the idea that local folklore might contain a factual warning. Science dictates what is real, and ghost stories don't make the cut. Are these legends just a psychological quirk of the local townsfolk? Or does modern science have a fatal blind spot regarding the physical world? James and a close friend decide to test this question by hiking out to the area. Their walk begins under calm weather, surrounded by completely ordinary, beautiful scenery. But as they approach the center of the anomaly, the environment drops away. The woods grow dense and dark, replaced by a heavy, unnatural silence. This topographical map reveals a stark earth depression concealed by dense vegetation. Notice this vector line tracking an ancient, deeply worn path across it. It implies continuous passage, which is exactly why locals call it the Striding Place. Standing in the center of it, James's companion becomes paralyzed by paranoia. He is suddenly overwhelmed by the intense sensation that an unseen presence is watching them. Then comes the sound. Deliberate, methodical footsteps begin pacing behind them. When the men stop, the footsteps stop, yet the woods are completely empty. The shifting atmospheric pressure and the sheer impossibility of the sounds finally crack James's confidence. His unshakable rationalism begins to fail. Then the impossible happens. In an open space, in the blink of an eye, James's companion completely vanishes. There is no cry for help, no sound of a struggle, no physical footprints leading away from the path they were standing on. James frantically combs the immediate area, desperately hunting for a logical explanation. He checks for hidden sinkholes, looks for drops of blood, and searches for any sign of a wild animal attack. Finding nothing, he alerts the authorities. A massive official search party sweeps through the countryside, meticulously examining every inch of the land. They find zero trace of the missing man. No body, no torn clothing, and no rational explanation for his disappearance. A human being simply ceased to exist in an open field. The event openly defies the laws of physics, rendering every tool of empirical investigation useless in this specific space. The investigation is eventually abandoned, and the case remains unsolved. The companion is entirely erased from the world. This visualization illustrates the Striding Place as a spatial threshold, represented by two parallel planes of existence. As they warp and touch, the barrier dissolves. Here, the wall between our ordinary world and an ancient realm becomes paper-thin. The name Striding Place suddenly takes on a much darker meaning. It refers to something or someone moving directly across this invisible boundary. Gertrude Bacon leaves the reader stranded in this dread. She refuses to provide a tidy explanation or reveal a visible monster to fight, forcing us to sit quietly with the unknown. And that means the threat is still out there. This geographic trapdoor remains hidden in plain sight, looking exactly like an ordinary patch of dirt. Our map of reality is dangerously incomplete. At any moment, a person can take a single step off the edge of the known world and never return.